Alright, time to see what this can do.
It is unwise to make such bold moves before you have all the pieces.
Oh, don't be so melodramatic. What's the point of having this thing if I never get to use it? And that was just with 2 of them? When I get all 6 of the elements, I'll be invincible!
What the hell was that? That sounded like a harmony blast.
Look over there! Smoke is rising from Finn's house!
We should go. Finn the pony might be in trouble. I got about 15 ships involving that pony. I'm not about to see them sink.
How about I go inside and just check to see if Commando or Cartoon need anything?
Oh, no you don't, Buster. You're coming with us.
Did they just forget I'm here? Oi, this is going to seed. The episode begins at Sweet Apple Acres, where the Apple family are super excited, especially AJ, because this is a very rare moment where all the apples in all of Sweet Apple Acres are going to be in bloom all at once. And they are super excited, except for Big Mac, who was up all night planning out the strategy of how they're going to tackle such a huge task. But don't worry, Granny Smith has him covered. She called in the cavalry, Golden Delicious, who's more than happy to help out. She also gives tale of the Seedling, a mysterious creature that seems to be sort of their version of Santa Claus, that if you catch it, it'll make sure that all the trees in all your acres will be in bloom all year round, regardless of weather conditions. Applejack assures us that this is just a legend, but Apple Bloom is not convinced.
Well, as fun as this is, Finn, quite frankly, I'm already bored.
Put him down, surfer dude.
Gladly, I already have everything I need from him. It's always good to have more than amounts of generosity.
Your business is between us. Leave civilians out of this.
Don't look at me for sympathy. After all, you're the ones who decided to pick this fandom. As far as I'm considered, they're all just gonna be collateral damage.
I'll collateral damage right upside your head.
Wait, Deadbeard, don't go in there!
Both of you, stop! Arr! Oh, Jesus, why did I even bring them?
Well, Applejack is definitely confused, as Apple Bloom hasn't searched for the seedling since she was a very young filly, but she's more determined than ever to find it. And Golden Delicious looks like she knows exactly what she's doing. So while Apple Bloom spends the entire day trying to set up traps for the seedling, AJ and Big Mac are doing their best in order to try to buck apples. But they soon discover that Granny Smith and Golden Delicious really aren't helping that much. So AJ asks Big Mac to reschedule their plan for attacking all the apples. But Apple Bloom still doesn't seem concerned at all about doing the work because she's too busy trying to catch the seedling. So next day comes around, AJ's ready to get some work done, while Big Mac looks like he's ready for a nap. But Apple Bloom is still excited, as she's hoping that she caught herself a seedling. AJ demands that Golden Delicious stop filling her head with such nonsense, as she says, because there's a lot of work to be done. But Golden Delicious stands her ground, saying that the damn thing's real. And sure enough, the next day, they discover a strange pattern in the apples. And Apple Bloom takes this as confirmation that the seedling is real. But AJ just says anything could have done this, and she tells her to tell Apple Bloom the truth, that it doesn't exist. But she, of course, is stubborn as a mule, and so is AJ. So AJ decides to go tell her herself. Pretty much the Santa Claus isn't real speech, but again, Apple Bloom is still unconvinced. So AJ makes her a deal. If she helps out today at work, then at the evening, she'll help Apple Bloom set up some traps, and she agrees. so work goes off without a hitch.
So, are you going to help me with this or not?
My business is to take down Commando. Anyone else is your problem.
Worst henchman ever.
I am not a henchman. I am a consultant.
Well, while Apple Bloom is busy bucking, AJ's trying to drop subtle hints that the seedling really isn't real. But Golden Delicious and even Granny Smith are trying to absurd her by saying it is real. And Granny Smith gives us a story as to why AJ is so stubborn about the issue. Turns out, she was even more determined to catch the seedling than Apple Bloom was when she was a foal. But when her traps came up empty and she accidentally fell in a hole, she felt guilty that she made her family do all the work while she was busy hunting imaginary creatures. So, of course, she refused to catch it ever again, and only help out with the work. Apple Bloom, however, still believes in the seedling, and AJ decides to keep her promise. So together, they help build traps in order to catch the seedling, and they start having a genuine good time while doing it. In fact, I actually see this as a real bonding experience between the two. And of course, both of them are really excited for catching the dang thing. But the next day, they're surprised to find that all of their traps have been sprung. Every one of them. And an even more elaborate design has been placed all over Sweet Apple Acres. And there's only one explanation that AJ can think of. The seedling must be real! And so she forgoes doing the harvest in order to devote all of her time to trying to catch the seedling. Which Apple Bloom, of course, says, wait, I thought you said that we were going to devote to working today. But AJ is too excited. Her fiery young spirit as a foal has been re-emerged. And Big Mac is, of course, felt to do all the work. Now, I gotta hand it to Big Mac. Big Mac is a freaking trooper in this episode. I mean it too. Big Mac takes on way more than his fair share of work. Going around crossing up things off the list and bucking as many apples as possible, it's not an easy job, and most of his family is not helping, or rather still, going off doing their own thing. He's even too tired to notice that several trees have mysteriously lost all of their apples. They're confused about this, but the grannies come up with a theory. The closer they are to catching the beast, the more likely the seedling will do mischievous pranks. AJ and Apple Bloom decide they're not going to trap it anymore, but rather they're going to try to catch it in the act. So then they can trap it. So they decide to be up all night. So Big Mac decides to say, screw it, I'm done writing this schedule. And I don't blame him.
Surfer Dude! You think you are bad? You don't know the meaning of the word.
Yes, I think this one's really good. Good luck.
You might be a villain, but I am the devil!
So it's the dead of night, and Apple Bloom and Applejack are bonding while waiting for the seedling, which they both promptly fall asleep. But then Apple Bloom realizes that one of their traps were set off. So AJ and Apple Bloom investigate, with Apple Bloom looking a little nervous. But sure enough, they start seeing signs. And then, out of paranoia, Apple Bloom believes that the seedling is mad at them for some reason and begins chasing them, which causes them to go into panic mode. They head back to their house, which, why is their house locked from the outside? That seems very impractical. Anyway, they turn around to discover that the seedling is Big Mac. Yeah, Big Mac's sleepwalking. Yeah, I'm just as confused as these two are. Yep, turns out Big Mac has been apple bucking in his sleep. Because he's been so overworked, he can't even stop working, even when he's dead tired. So, after realizing their big mistake of making Big Mac doing an unfair amount of work, which they should realize this, they realized they got done ahead of schedule and bucked all the apples. And AJ says that it's okay that they believe in the seedling still, because what matters in the end is that they get to spend time as a family. Speaking of family, Golden Delicious decides it's time to head home, but not before she notices an unusual string of carrots being strutted along. And since Big Mac was bucking apples, of course, looking at that background, he clearly wasn't finished, they discover that the carrots were in the same patterns as the apples were, which reignites the spark of trying to find the seedling in both the Apple sisters. And that was Going to Seed. And if this is the last Apple Family episode that we get, then damn did they go out with a bang. No one seemed out of character, and usually in these episodes, Applejack goes stir crazy because family, but this time they actually kept her well within her limits of characters. The conflict also seemed natural as well, considering that it was just about a matter of whether it's time to work versus time to play. If I had to say anything negative about this episode, it's one, Big Mac got a very unfair amount of work, considering that Apple Bloom and Granny Smith, Golden Delicious, and Applejack either couldn't help or wouldn't help. So I think it's a little bit unfair for Big Mac to have that much work piled on top of him. No wonder he was tired. And Golden Delicious were stubborn for no other reason than to be stubborn. But I think that only helped to drive the plot along, so I guess we can give that one a pass. Overall, I highly recommend this episode to anyone who enjoys Applejack, the Apple Family, or if anyone wants to get introduced to them for the first time. I think it's that good of an episode.
It's also worth noting that there's a new possible real creature in this world. So it's a mythos within a mythos. Always a good A+ material for me.
Yeah, I really hope that the seedling, however, isn't real, just because I want the mythos to still be alive. Well, with that being said, we're the Cartoon Gentlemen, the organizers of chaos as vintage kings. And where's everybody else?
No, I'm not gonna give you my gauntlet. You can't make me.
Come on, stop fidgeting. You're making this harder than it has to be. Come on,
No.
just give it over to...
No.
Come on, you're just being a little...
No.
Dude, you're only embarrassing yourself. Now come on, just hand it over and... Ah! Ah! Whoa! Jesus Christ! What the hell was that?